welcome to the Front Office Podcast. I'm your host, Marcus Cameron. As always, we are rocking some independent clothing. Today is Everybody versus Bad Weed, High Flight Apparel Clothing. Y'all check them out. I'll make sure I put their Instagram tag in the comments. Welcome. Coming off fresh off of working some overtime till 11 o'clock. That gave me an opportunity to kind of watch the in-season tournament games that finished up in the NBA today. And I can't front, this NBA in-season tournament is working for the NBA. It's working. Like, those games are really good, all of them. Tonight it was a little iffy. The Bulls game versus the Celtics, they had to win by a point differential. The Bulls were already eliminated, so it got kind of ugly. But, I mean, it does, like, it kind of plays the whole AAU role if you a parent that's been to AAU games and tournaments. And you got to win by a certain amount of points to get into a certain pool and things of that nature. So it's kind of fun to see the professionals do that. Some good games on the ticket tonight. The best game of the night by far, Sacramento and Golden State. That one I watched from beginning to end. Shout out to Klay Thompson, De'Aaron Fox, and Luka Doncic. I know he's not in that game, but those are three guys I had in my parlay. Made me 300. That's 100. Solid. Y'all boys send me y'all cash app, man. I'll send y'all percentage. But as far as the game is concerned, Sacramento and Golden State really controlled the game throughout, honestly. They really had no business losing that game. And I think that just really shows how good Sacramento is as far as a team is concerned. Sabonis was horrible. I mean, he did a lot of other things. Offensively, he was horrible. He grabbed a lot of rebounds. I think he had like 9 or 10 assists, maybe even a block shot. So he definitely did what he needed to do to help the team win. But as far as offensive output, he was terrible. But Huter was great. Malik Monk ended up with 21 points. De'Aaron Fox had a big night. Sacramento really should finish in that top 3 in the West, honestly. If they don't, I'm going to be a little disappointed. And I'm excited because, honestly, if you look at the Western teams right now, the Western Conference teams, 1 and 2 is Oklahoma City and Minnesota. I do think we're witnessing in front of us the younger generation that was drafted 3 and 4 years ago starting to become, what the league really is going to be. You still got the LeBrons, you still got older guys around who are still, making an impact on the game and being pillars for the game. Steph Curry, he's getting up there in age. KD, but man, these young teams, man. Oklahoma City and Minnesota was a dog fight. Shout out to Anthony Edwards, man. Hopefully you get better, bro. You're looking great out there as far as on the MVP level. Definitely balling. So quickly recovery for him. Hopefully. That was a good game. Minnesota ended up pulling out. But back to the Sacramento and Golden State game. It was just up and down all game. And honestly, man, I've never really bought into the whole the NBA is rigged shit. Even though you got a referee who say he rigged games, he called bad calls, whatever. He don't control the balls, basketballs, pause. He doesn't control the players. He just makes foul calls, and he can only affect a certain thing. But tonight, I could kind of see where somebody would say, yeah, that game was rigged. Number one, it was the last in-season tournament game, which is, coincidence. It may just worked out great and, whatever, but it just happened to be the last in-season tournament game. It was on TNT, so it wasn't on one of like the little local channels or nothing like that. Highly televised game, probably a lot of viewers, and it came down to the wire. De'Aaron Fox, who is a great free throw shooter, I think he shot 6 for 13 from the free throw line. Golden State literally gave them the game in the last 4 minutes. The turnovers that they were making. Klay played great. Draymond was even effective out there. He got a bad tech call on him. So I could see where people would come across and say, hey, this shit is rigged. I just don't buy it all the time. I don't buy it with wins and losses. I buy it more or so with props and shit like that. I gamble on the props, so I could see how somebody could do that because Sabonis was just horrible offensively, and Bro didn't even attempt a shot in the second half. I don't believe, which is crazy. There were some other games tonight. Miami and the Milwaukee and Miami game was a really good game. No Jimmy Butler, no Tyler Hero, just Bam and the others, and they took Milwaukee to the wire. They really did. They took them to the wire. Um, that experiment with Dame and Giannis is still up in the air. They got the win. That's the most important thing. Regardless of who was on the floor, they got the W, and they're moving on. But they are really struggling to like close teams out. I think they're just still in that mode where they're learning each other. I still think they're a top three team in the East, regardless. But honestly, they're probably the most vulnerable team right now. If I had to pick a team to come out of the East, it definitely wouldn't be them at this moment. But it's a long season. A lot happens, trades, injuries, things of that nature. So we'll wait to see what happens with that. Philly is not in the in-season tournament, which is crazy. Boston is in. Orlando, I believe, is not in. I have to double check that with y'all. If I'm wrong, put it in the comments. But it's supposed to be the quarterfinal single elimination starting next Monday and Tuesday. Like I said, man, my thoughts on these games is all of these games have been competitive. Just about all of them. Definitely more intense than what you see in a normal regular season game around this time of year. Right after Thanksgiving, right before Christmas, guys can get a little lackadaisical. You might even start seeing some load management, and you're just not seeing that right now because guys want to win that tournament. They want to get there. They want to get that money. Now, how they look after this going forward, because you got to understand, you still got January, you still got all of December, Christmas Day games, January, and then you got the All-Star break in February. It'll be interesting to see how players react or how the NBA chooses to move forward with that. Do they extend the period of time as far as the in-season tournament? If you're a coaching staff, do you start resting guys after the in-season tournament? Like, okay, well, we ain't got nothing to play for. We're in third place. I'm going to sit two guys tonight. So it's supposed to be to defer load management and also create another buzz around the NBA. We'll see how it works out. Some big news today in the NBA was Mark Cuban, owner of the Dallas Mavericks, has been the owner for a long time. We all know and respect him, is negotiating a deal to sell his team or majority ownership of his team for $3.5 billion to Miriam Adelson. She's an Israeli woman, the richest Israeli woman in the world. She's on Forbes' list as the 44th richest person in the world. Apparently, her family owns a lot of casinos, but that's besides the point. The key part here is Mark Cuban is going to stay on and still control basketball operations, which means not only is he getting paid for turning his team into a $3.5 billion team, he still continues to run the team, which I think is amazing. If that's true, if the reports are true, that's an amazing deal for Mark Cuban. That's something to be super excited about if I was him, because, you could tell that Mark Cuban loves it. He's just one of those owners that really loves the game. He respects the game, loves his players. All of them. I've never really heard a player say anything bad about Mark Cuban. Not saying he's perfect, but I just never really heard a player say anything bad about him. So that's a huge deal, man. I know some people are going to try to play the race card. Oh, well, Jordan sold his team for $3 billion and he only paid $180 million. Mark Cuban actually paid $285, I think. So Jordan sold his team and made a huge profit margin too. The big difference is Mark Cuban is still running his team, which Jordan may not have wanted to do. He may have wanted to just really, kind of idle back a little bit. He's got the race team in North Carolina. He's got a lot of other things going on. Of course, the Jordan brand makes hella money every year, regardless. So, maybe he really just really wanted to get away from the game, but I know Mark Cuban didn't. And for him to pull that deal off and still be able to control the basketball operations and still run his team is an amazing feat. Um, I did see Jason Kidd press conference. The Mavericks played the Rockets tonight, and if the Rockets would have won, I think they would have got in. But they lost by 5. Luka had a great game, smoking Dylan Brooks, Dylan the villain. Bro, you're gonna have to stop. You're gonna have to start stopping some of these people if you're gonna call yourself Mr. Defensive Stopper. You're gonna have to stop. You're gonna have to start stopping some of them because you talk that shit to Braun, he lit you up. You talk that shit to Luka tonight, he lit your ass up. You don't respect them unless they give you 40. Well, that's 2 cases where motherfuckers done gave you that 40. Just calm down a little bit, champ. um, but anyway, a reporter after the game, Jason Kidd, basically cussed the guy out, which I do feel bad for the media sometimes. I had to pause because I had to really think how I wanted to say this. I do feel bad for reporters sometimes when it comes to coaches and how they interact with them. Because the coach is having a bad day, you're being an asshole. That guy's just trying to do his job. But I also see it on the other side too. Um, it's not okay for you to come in and continuously be negative. You never have anything positive to say about it, our team or me, and it's just a constant negative cloud. Like these are still people too, so I think it goes both ways as far as the respect. Basically, the reporter has been writing nothing but negative uh, articles in regards to the Dallas Mavericks. Now, I don't know that. I haven't gone and read all his articles, but that's how Jason Kidd felt. I know a lot of people gonna be like, "Oh, well, just because he felt that way doesn't mean that." Okay, here's where I'm gonna kind of say I feel Jason Kidd. Most of us would have a problem if we heard somebody talking shit about us. If we heard somebody saying, "Oh, this person ain't shit," or "This person did this," we'd have a problem. Like it ain't. They didn't post it to Facebook. They didn't post it to Instagram. You heard it, and you'd have a problem. Imagine a reporter consistently writing nothing but negative articles about you, and you, your family, your wife, your kids gotta read this shit. All your players gotta read this shit. Your bosses gotta read this shit. You know what I mean? Like at some point in time, it's like, damn, bro, like what the hell you doing? Like, I mean, do you have something against me? That's when I feel like maybe the journalist is using the power a little bit too much to kind of get rid of a person that they don't like or they don't care for. Um, a good example of that is the whole Josh Giddey thing. Like, it's not getting the coverage that when Kyrie Irving said what he said about the Jewish people, or he supported the book. Didn't even say anything about Jewish people. He just supported the documentary that was on Amazon. It was a big thing. Now, granted, Kyrie Irving is a much bigger star than Josh Giddey. I get that. I do get that. But what Josh Giddey is being accused of is a lot more. I don't have the word to say it, but it's more grotesque. We'll say that. We'll say grotesque. I'm gonna use that word than what Kyrie Irving was being accused of. Honestly, and that's not to slight anybody who's Jewish and may feel some type of way about what Kyrie did. Um, it's just not sexual assault, bro. Like it's not sexual assault, and that's what he's being accused of, or uh, actions with a minor. I'm not sure the exact charge. I try to stay out of it, but I brought that up to just say there's a difference in coverage. Jordan with this team, like I said, he made just as much money as Mark Cuban. He's a billionaire, but I'm pretty sure, and if he's not, he's close to it. It's not a competition. Cuban wanted to keep control of this team. He was able to get a deal done. Jordan probably wanted to move on. That's it. So that's enough of the politics of the game. But y'all let me know in the comments how everybody feels about the in-season tournament. I can't be the only one that sees a difference if you're a real basketball head. And just to be clear, I'm not one of these guys who just watch the NBA. I watch college. I actually go to high school basketball games and watch the local talent around here because when you can see it from all 3 levels, it gives you a different appreciation. You can see a kid grow. Like, we used to coach AAU, or I used to coach AAU. even if I'm not coaching, it's a joy to be able to take my son to a game and watch high school kids play because some of these kids are going to be in the NBA. I saw Zion when he was at the Chick-fil-A Classic here in Columbia. Knew he was going to be an NBA player for sure, without a doubt. Not saying I knew and nobody else did, but you knew he was going to be an NBA player. But I like to kind of go and see what that kid has at that level and then pay attention. Does he fix it? Does he work hard enough? Does he do this? Does he do that? And you can watch these people grow in front of you. I think that's what's going on in the West, especially with OKC and Minnesota. You know, you're watching these young stars become the faces of the league, and the old guys are kind of getting phased out. You know, LeBron is LeBron. He's my GOAT in my particular opinion. And that's another subject for another show. We're not going to get into that. But he's still around, so he's going to get a lot of media attention. You still got the Celtics, 76ers, Embiid is a MVP over there. Jason Tatum's an all-star. Brown's an all-star. So, it's a good mixture. I think the NBA is in a really good place right now. I think Adam Silver's doing a great job, honestly. Listening to what the people actually want, as far as like all-star jerseys, load management. David Stern did that as well, and I think everybody can approach a job in a different way and still have the same type of effect. That's the great thing about, being an individual. You don't have to do it the way this person's doing it in order to get this type of result. So, but that's kind of my week in review of the NBA. Like I said, it was a great night tonight, man. I hit Underdog, man. Shout out to Underdog, man. We need a definite sponsor. What's happening? We will work with y'all. Come on, man. Hit me up. Like and subscribe as always, man. Appreciate y'all checking in. If I didn't mention it before, again, I got my guy's shirt on, man. High Flight Apparel. It'll be in the comments, man. Show some love. Shop with my folks. Y'all be easy. Catch y'all the next time around. Peace.